Welcome back to part 2, and remember we were discussing the wonderful Invictus veteran who's had to move into an assisted living and had to stop therapy due to cost. If you are getting this video before you got part 1, please go to my channel and watch part 1 first. You don't want to see this until you see part 1. All right, let's go. So remember, he just told us he's in an assisted living and he stopped therapy. Just as an FYI, he's in the assisted living because he can't do the stairs at his home anymore since he injured himself. So he's in the retirement home, which he said is costing him $5,000 a month. And one of the therapies he had to stop was vision therapy because the vision in his left eye, he's suffered, since his injury, he's having an issue with it. But he had to stop the therapy because he can't afford it anymore. Now, I'm shocked by what was in this article because what it says is that if Snow had been with the Canadian Armed Forces members who was on the team, his expenses would have been covered. But veterans on Canada's Invictus team were responsible for getting their own insurance, something that this man says that him and the other veterans were never fully explained to them before they went to Germany. So essentially, there's a 2-tier system. So he said, if the person next to me got shot with a bow and arrow and I got shot with a bow and arrow, for the rest of their life, they're covered expenses and modifications, but I have to rely on my credit card. And this guy was apparently a very high-profile team member. As I stated at the beginning of the story, he was in some of the promos where he talked about his surgeries and his PTSD and his family and his children and how grateful he was to go and train and be a part of the Invictus Games. He said, when I applied and I got in, I was so happy because I never thought I'd be able to do this. It was life-changing for me. So he went as part of Canada's Invictus team, and that team is managed by a group called Soldier On, which is a semi-autonomous CAF program. It helps ill and injured CAF members and veterans do the sports and recreation. And the VAC, which is the Veterans Affairs of Canada, also supports the Invictus program by further funding to Soldier On. He had a cervical spine injury from when he fell out of his chair. He needed surgery. The really sad part about all of this is that according to this man, since he was injured, not one person from Soldier On has reached out to him, even though Mr. Snow has emailed them and called them. He blames Soldier On and its officials. He said he was never fully explained to him that the veterans needed their own health insurance. And CBS News, who broke this story, spoke to other veterans that were on the 2023 team, and they backed up everything Mr. Snow said. CBS actually looked at the over 30-page documents that were given to the people, and insurance is only mentioned once in all of those pages. Invictus Foundation says that the responsibility for all of this lies with the participating countries, and the Department of National Defense told CBS that participation in the Invictus Games is a voluntary activity. So one of the retired captains, a former Air Force intelligence officer, has become a leading advocate for the rights of injured veterans. And what he said, and I'm paraphrasing, how sad is it that the biggest PR tool Invictus has is how we take care of our veterans, and, look at the way this man is being treated, essentially. By the way, the picture you're looking above is the billboard that's right outside his assisted living community. So he's literally being tortured daily by this. I feel so bad for this man. I wish him all the best. Moving on. Well, now, articles are coming out saying that Harry is going to be making all these glitzy appearances, but Meghan Markle will not be joining him. You have to wonder why. I know they're claiming she's sick, but Meghan would never pass up the chance to rub shoulders with other royalty and dress up. I think it has something to do with the bullying claims. And right about that time, this blind item came out saying that Meghan still can't find any takers who want to publish her reply to being accused of being a bully. I can see that. Now, I want to give a big thank you to this person on Twitter because they found and published Harry's entire itinerary in New York. No, I'm not kidding. And I find it very interesting that somebody who's so safety conscious would allow his entire itinerary to be published, but he did. So Harry, let's go back to Harry. Harry finally landed in New York. We don't know how he got there. I'm willing to bet it's a private jet. Otherwise, they would have announced how he got there. Anyway, he started his trip by going to a dinner that was hosted by the World Health Organization. And one of the guests there was Queen Matilda of Belgium, and there was some other dignitaries. Other people there was Forrest Whitaker. He's an actor in Hollywood, in case you don't know who he is. This event was to honor survivors of childhood violence. What that has to do with Harry, I have no idea. And this dinner was just hours after the Kevin Costner event. So I'm telling you, Harry left the Kevin Costner event. He got on a private jet and he flew in to New York. You know, I can't help but let you guys know that one of the things that's being said online is the reason Harry decided to do this in New York alone and go to Britain alone is because he wants to carve out new opportunities and assert himself. That every time he's around Meghan, he's just miserable and he feels like a spare part and he's unhappy. So now he wants more for himself. And so he wants to know what the future holds. And therefore, he's desperate to find meaning to his life. And that's why he went without Meghan Markle. Sorry. No, Meghan didn't go with him. I'm telling you guys, I firmly believe that they were living completely separate lives. And again, he's going to be gone for 8-9 days. So much for, watching the love of your children grow. And I'm always around them. I mean, he never seems to be around his children, but that's just my own personal thought process. I couldn't help but notice that when the Belgians put up their picture of the event on their official Twitter, Harry was nowhere to be seen. Now you're about to see a picture. It's the outgoing Belgian Prime Minister. It's Prince Harry, the World Health Organization Director, Queen Matilda of Belgium, Forrest Whitaker, British actor Will Poulter, and the director of UNICEF. Notice Harry's the only one without the tie. Good old Harry, California Harry, can't even put on a tie for this event. He should have. Now, the next day, Harry gets up. I already told you about this whole Concordia thing and the fact that he's supposed to be an esteemed leader. I don't know who he's representing. Although he was supposedly there for the Diana Awards, and that was the whole purpose of it. But anyway, he appeared on the mental health panel in New York. It was shocking. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what's the deal with him, but here it is. I've sped it up. This is what happened when he sat down. He's playing with the mic. He's playing with his jacket. He's playing with his tie. He's rubbing his leg. He's bouncing. He's fidgeting. He looks very, very uncomfortable, let me tell you. So Harry's anxiety is getting the best of him, or maybe this is a byproduct of, something else. Now, I watched his speech, and I'm going to tell you some of the things he said. First thing Harry said was, I'd like to go last. And then he proceeded to say, the reason I want to go last is because these guys are the ones that give me hope. I have said it before years ago and I'll say it again. The younger generation is what gives me hope. The courage you have gives me hope. Every one of us needs courage to move the dial in this world, probably more than ever. We need to listen and act on what you say because it's your future that will be stolen, and that is unacceptable. So thank you to you guys for giving me and probably a lot of other people in this room hope. All right, you guys, that is the end of part 2. Put your comments down, then go down into the description box and hit the link for part 3. Oh my God, let's go.